Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, good morning. I rise this morning to talk about an issue that is really kind of a federal issue, but in the absence of federal action, states across this country are making progress, and that's the Toxic Substance Control Act, a bill that was passed in 1976 at the federal level. It's the law that basically controls chemicals in the environment and protects public health. And in 1976, there were about 62,000 chemicals in use. Unfortunately, back then, we decided to grandfather all those chemicals into use without the required testing. Some 35 years later, EPA has required companies to test only 200 chemicals for health hazards, and have only issued restrictions on about 5 of those chemicals. One of those chemicals that is in wide use today and is of concern is the chemical Bisphenol A, or BPA. It was developed in the 1930s. It's one of the most pervasive chemicals in society. This year, about 2 billion pounds will be produced in the United States. BPA is in the blood of 93% of Americans. It's ubiquitous. It is used to make plastic and makes hardener in plastic. And it is also known as a synthetic estrogen. And it acts like estrogen when consumed by humans. It increases the risk of breast cancer and other hormonally sensitive diseases. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, breast cancer is an epidemic in our country. 1 in 7 women come down with it. There's a lot of concern that BPA is one of the culprits in this fight against breast cancer. I was up in the Twin Cities for the second time this summer walking with my sister, who had a double mastectomy 3 years ago because of breast cancer. This particular chemical disrupts the endocrine system, triggering a wide variety of disorders. It's especially of concern for pregnant women and young children. BPA, as I noted, is used in plastic and food can liners, and you'll even be maybe happy or unhappy to know that it's also in cash register tape that you get at the grocery store or at the gas station. It's in baby bottles, water bottles, and food can liners. Government-funded studies have overwhelmingly shown harm caused from low doses of BPA. In 202 of 206 animal studies, it indicates that kids are the most vulnerable from low doses. Time of exposure also matters. Fetuses, infants, children are not just smaller adults, but the development of their endocrine systems exchange signals from the brain to direct this growth. BPA interrupts the biochemical process and may set newborn and young children on a path towards disease later in life. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, the federal government has failed to protect our public health. The FDA and the EPA are not protecting us. And that's why states all over this country are acting. 8 states have passed BPA restrictions. This year, 30 state legislatures will see legislation introduced protecting public health from toxic chemicals. We need federal reform now, but like a lot of things at the federal level, if we don't get federal reform, the states are where the action is. And the states are where the action is where BPA is concerned. This session, there's been a bill introduced to take a look at this, and I'd like to thank Senator Bacon for his help on this. A bill that would restrict the use of BPA in baby bottles, sippy cups, and pacifiers. Things that our young kids are exposed to. And I would note, there is some movement in the industry about this. Last week, we all attended the tourism event, and I got a bottle, I think from Blackhawk County actually, a water bottle, and on the bottom of the bottle it says, BPA free. So folks are getting the message in the industry about this. The federal government needs to catch up. I think we can do ourselves a favor this session by raising awareness not only among Iowans, but our members of Congress about the need to reform and modernize the Toxic Controlled Substance Act. Thank you, Mr. President.